Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I thought it would be fun if I read to you some of the story that I wrote for Nalu. She's one of my OCs and I really love her a lot. Nalu happens to be Milky Way's best friend. If you watched my last video, you'll know that Milky Way is one of my main OCs. So, let's get into it. Hurry, hurry, hurry! At this point, Nalu didn't even know why she was struggling to swim. The messenger will be here any second! Swim, swim, swim! Why can't I swim right now? Reefs flew by as she tumbled around like a fish whose fins got cut off. Sea jumpers were natural swimmers. They had a gift when it came to swiftly slicing through the water. It was almost pretty how elegant it looked. But right now, Nalu looked like she was gonna explode at any second. She knew that there was some sort of news that could be very serious. Instead of swimming like a normal dragon, she was flopping around with anticipation. Tribe of the Sea Jumpers was a well-hidden tribe. They lived close to the surface of the water. It was kind of their name, Sea Jumpers. They were surface dwellers who loved diving in and out of the water. They had two separate villages, one in the north of Kurika and one in the south. Sea Jumpers migrated in the wintertime. The surface of the ocean freezes in the winter, so they are forced to live in the south until the water thaws. Though very few dragons knew it, the sea jumpers are the fastest of all the species. They have thin, fin-like wings that are powerful in the water. Above water, their lightweight wings allow them to fly faster. All sea jumpers have naturally metallic scales. They shimmer brightly underwater. It's almost like a sparkling treasure sinking into the dim ocean. Almost all sea jumpers have naturally pale colors. Nalu's scales were bright sky blue with flecks of pink and silver here and there. She had a thin, pink, transparent fin that ran down her spine. At the tip of her tail, she had a ruffly pink fin in the shape of an oval. Her wings had a slit close to the tips of them. She had 3 horns right on the tip of her head that all pointed sharply backwards. I'm almost there! So close! Nalu wasn't a princess or anything special in the tribe. She was more of an outcast. She was made fun of for wanting to travel the world. She wanted to see things and meet other tribes. Unfortunately, that was a very un-sea jumper thing to do. Luckily, she was also friends with the prince, Tide. Tide was a deep indigo dragon. She felt that they were the same, outcasts. Tide was a misfit because of the way he looked. No one knew where his dark-colored scales possibly could have come from. But not only did he have dark scales, but there were flecks of gold speckled all along his back and tail. Nalu felt a sort of comfort when she was around him, like a warm kind of peace. At last, the castle came into view. She was almost there. She swam fast over the next few corals. The sea jumper castle was large. Its peaks were shaped like large spiky starfish. The castle was made of 7 tall towers, each one shorter than the last. The largest tower stood in the middle. It was the widest and the tallest. Each tower had a twin. They all stood slightly behind the last until it formed a U shape. They were each blue, fading into coral as they reached the top. They all had a coral-like texture. The entrance was a large arch with golden pearls embedded into it. Corals of all colors grew all around the arch. There was no door. Nalu swam into the arch and swam upward. The room was circular, and the water only filled up a few feet. Around the bottom were statues of previous rulers, some kings and some queens. She reached the surface of the water and climbed out onto one of the circular platforms. It was a ring shape, so dragons could come in and out of the water with no problem. The room was large, with pearls and seashells all around. There were paintings of His Majesty, King Tiger Shark, of his son and daughters. The oldest princess was Staghorn, the youngest daughter was Betta, and of course, there was Tide. She flew up to a rope platform. There was a small opening in the lair for dragons to get through. The ground of the lair was an odd feeling. It was bouncy, yet sturdy. Nalu didn't like it. The throne room was at the top of this tower. It took Nalu a really long moment to get there. Layer after layer of the tower she flew through. There were a total of 8 layers in the tower. Most of the first tower was a treasury. Paintings and statues, royal armor, weapons built with pearls, fancy chairs, expensive corals, and so much more. King Tiger Shark liked to show power by how much stuff he had. There was another way of getting into the throne room, but that way was through the water. There were many openings from the outside of the palace. Since the palace was underwater, it still needed air inside. There were domes placed over every entrance. The dome allowed an air pocket to reach the landing platform without getting water inside the palace. Am I too late? Did the messenger come yet? As Nalu reached the throne room, dragons began to crowd everywhere. Guards were trying to control everyone. Every dragon seemed worried or anxious about the news that was about to be told. Nalu tried to look for Tide, but his dark scales were nowhere to be found. She tried to push past the crowds of dragons. She failed to get anywhere. Ugh, who are all these dragons anyway? How am I supposed to find Tide in a giant crowd? There are literally dragons everywhere. Squirming sea slugs, this is crazy! Tap, tap, tap. Nalu whipped around to find Tide poking her shoulder. Oh, Squidbrain, there you are! Squidbrain? I'd rather not be called that, thank you very much. Who are all these dragons? I hardly can spread my talons, it's so crowded. Here, Tide grabbed Nalu's arm, pulling her. This way. Where exactly are we going? Tide didn't answer. He just kept pulling her. He finally stopped at one of the exits. This way. What? I've been swimming all day. Where are we going? They both stepped onto the diving platform. The entrance to the dome was covered by a curtain of seaweed. The dome was what you would expect. A spacious room with a pool of water leading into the ocean water. There were many plants on the diving platform. Seaweed grew from the top of the dome all the way down. Through here, Nalu was hesitant. Trust me. He pulled back a curtain of seaweed, revealing a hidden passageway. It looked as though they were walking through a cave. As they walked deeper into it, the path started spiraling upward. Less light was coming through. For a moment, it was total darkness. Nalu couldn't see Tide in front of her. She was a little nervous that she'd step on his tail. Fortunately, the pathway started to fill with blue light. The path widened into a small dome-shaped room. 4 small yet tall glass windows lined one side of the room, while on the other side, a vent showed the throne room below. The room looked like a cave. It had a stone desk in the corner beside the windows. Above the desk was a glass sphere hanging on the wall. It looked like it had some sort of a blue rock in it. There were 3 shelves on either side of the windows, all stacked with papers, feathered pens, books, and tiny sculptures. Across from one of the windows, above the vent, was a large map marked with X's in multiple spots. On the ground, below the map, laid wooden crates. Wow, how did you find this place? Well, that's a long story. We can watch everything from here, though. See? Through the vent. Nalu was amazed. This was such an amazing place, and it had been here the whole time, and no one knew about it. What really amazed her was the windows. You could see the ocean for miles. All the sea life just gliding right past your eyes. I think the messenger is here, Tide said. He was laying on the ground looking through the vent. Nalu walked over and sat next to him. Down in the throne room, the king, queen, and 2 daughters sat in their thrones. One empty throne sat next to the king, Tide's throne. He was right. The messenger had just walked into the room. Whoa, an ocean flame! Have you heard what they can do? Keep your voice down. And yeah, I heard what they can do. Do you think it's true, though? I don't know. It'd be pretty awesome to see, though. She's talking now. The ocean flame stepped closer to the thrones, his greenish, tan scales quivering. Scratches and deep cuts covered his body. He had teal webs that arched all the way around his head. More webs threaded all the way down his back, ending in a spiky webbed frill at the tip of his tail. His underbelly was pale tan, almost white. His scales became a more vivid green as they reached his spine. He began to speak in a soft, gravelly voice. It sounded like a low growl. Your Highnesses, there's been a great disturbance in the ocean world. The Queen of the Ocean Flames, Queen Blue Flare, has sent me to warn you. What do you mean, great disturbance? King Tiger Shark asked. He had an amused expression, one that looked as if he'd been waiting for someone to challenge him, so he would show off his treachery and intimidation. One like we have never seen before. We sent out an army to track this disturbance down. They managed to track us down first. Only one of us survived. Me. There were 20 of us, and only 3 of them. I only got a small glimpse before one of them chased me down. Dragons, masked and armored in bones, skulls over their heads. Your Highnesses, whoever these dragons are, they are more powerful than any in Kurika. Were you not all armored? A whole army of 20 versus 3 bone-covered dragons? King Tiger Shark, the sea jumpers. Not even our fire could stop them. They swam right through it, as if it was just a gust of wind. Nalu looked at Tide. Both of them were worried as well as confused. Whispers started spreading across the throne room faster than the winds of a hurricane. King Tiger Shark spoke loudly for everyone in the room to hear. Silence! We will figure this out. There is no need for panic. Our armies are great in number and skill. I'm sure we will be well protected. The messenger then said something to the king. He was too quiet to hear, but his expression showed he was serious and concerned. His scarred forehead scrunched into frustration. Did you hear what he said? Nalu asked. No, he was too quiet. Tide looked aggravated that he couldn't hear what the ocean flame said. King Tiger Shark spoke again. This council is dismissed. You may all leave in peace. If there truly is a threat, you will all be warned. The room began to empty out. Dragons seemed to be relieved, others worried. As the room came closer to empty, the king and the messenger flew to a higher platform, the king's quarters. It was a small space where the king had his armor and weapons ready for battle. There was a curtain made of green silk for privacy. He closed the curtain behind them. Nalu had a feeling that this discussion was far from over. Nalu, Tide said in a sturdy voice, I think that we need to leave. Leave? What do you mean? I know this seems like a big threat, but I heard him. My dad. The way he was hiding his fear and worry. It's part of his job, to make his people feel safe, but something isn't right. You saw them fly away. They're going to talk more about this. The ocean isn't safe anymore. Nalu had no words left to say. The ocean isn't safe? This really could be a threat, or maybe everything will be fine. I need your help, Tide said. A look of determination spread across his face. All these boxes, you see? I have to hide them. Hide them? Why? What are they? Powerful stones. Magic. They're sea stones. What? How did you find— Shh! You can't let anyone know. I've been researching them for years, studying their power. I knew what they could do, but I didn't know how to use them. They could save our tribe, but if someone or something bad is coming, we could be in real danger. No one, not ever, can find these. That's it then. We have to leave the kingdom. We have to find someone who can help us harness their power. The Sunwings, they're the wisest of dragons. They'll know what to do. Nalu, that's in the middle of the desert of Kifo. You know Kifo means death, right? Besides, we're sea dragons. Sea dragons in the middle of the desert? Bad idea. It's not like we have much of a choice, do we? It took Tide a moment to respond, but when he did, it was decided. We pack what we need and head out tomorrow. No turning back until we can find a way to save the tribe from whatever war is coming. I hope you enjoyed listening to Nalu's story. I really enjoyed writing her story and reading it. If you did too, make sure you drop a like. Thank you so much for watching.